Hello and welcome to the Real Exes of Portland podcast, coming to you from Portland, Oregon. I'm Heather.
I'm Sofie.
And I'm Amy.
And we are real women, real friends with real stories.
That are super juicy.
And I might add, real boobs. And we would love for you to follow us on Instagram at The Real Exes Portland. And we will be hanging out with you guys every Wednesday afternoon.
And you know what Wednesday is?
Wine Wednesday.
Cheers.
I think that's part of it. We don't have good balance. Okay, there. My microphone holder is not spreading its legs wide enough. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Whatever country you might be in. I mean, whatever time zone you might be in, whatever. We happen to be recording in the evening right now, and it is Wine Wednesday, and we are drinking a new delicious variety that I will say I was cheap. I went to a cheap store that already has cheap wine. It said the bottle was normally sells for $35.
Ooh.
It was marked $6.99, plus they had a special sale that all their wine was additional 20% off. So, and this is a beautiful wine. I can't even read it. It's some other language, but it's from Spain. So cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
It's like a red blend. Oh, shoot, I used the wrong glass. Let me try this one. Okay.
Oh, Heather.
You all will soon learn my story about my hormones, but just bear with me for right now because in my last life, well, my former part of this current life, is what I mean. I used to be really with it, and I was smart, and I got good, and I got good grades, and I was a stellar employee and student. But somewhere in the last 10 years, it all went to shit. So now we just drink wine from Spain, and we cope. Okay, so
we all need therapy.
On that note, we're going to dive right in, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for returning and coming back and listening to all of our craziness and fun times and laughter and tears and wine. Cheers. Hey, I just
I love it.
Woo! That's going to be our new slogan.
Yeah.
Right now, our slogan is real women, real stories, real boobs. Isn't that it? No,
real friends.
Oh, that's right. We're also real friends with real boobs. And so let's see. I will say you've been hearing more from the other ladies because I have been trickling along here. Luckily, they're carrying me. But I think today we're hearing from Amy. Yes. And welcome. No, you're already part of our group. Welcome to our podcast, Amy.
And your microphone is working.
Oh,
you
yes,
tested
it is working.
We're
So we
all
apologize.
on.
We
Oh,
do. We still have hiccups, but they're
we
much
do.
less. I
Yeah.
mean, the last episode that we did, it was. We sounded great. The microphones were
it's
working.
perfect.
It sounded. We were almost in stereo.
Yeah. We actually sound professional. Well, no, that's the thing you guys out there need to realize is that we are doing everything ourselves. We have not hired anybody to help with anything.
Oh.
So I feel that, given that we're
doing pretty good.
cranking along here.
Well, I mean, news ladies, we hit 1,000 plays on our podcast. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
that's
Keep
awesome.
listening.
much.
Let's.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I patted.
I was going to say high fives.
High five.
But really, this is thank you to all of our listeners, right?
Yeah.
But I was looking at my cohorts here, thanking them. But it's the thanks really goes to our listeners. Yeah, thanks for.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. And
Yeah.
I would love to hear. I think we asked, what do you think of this episode and so forth. And if you have a chance, or if you're up for it, please give us your feedback. at least say hi. We also looking forward to, doing more things and polls and do more interactive things with our podcast. We're just trying to get the basics done right now, but I am so proud.
So
I
true.
can't believe.
Oh no, I have another heat wave coming.
Oh no. And then we're also, we have people in Singapore, India, Australia, Greece, Mexico, Canada.
We are literally international.
I think we need all those flags. We need to have flags.
Yeah. We should have like a little pot, little flags.
Yes, let's do it. That'd be cute. All of our little. Yeah, they're like
we should probably try to say hello to everybody in those languages.
Oh, that's
that might be a little bit too.
Shall I start subscribing to Rosetta Stone? What's another one? There's some other ones out there.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
in
main
Duolingo.
One. Duolingo. That's the one I think
one.
my daughter mentioned.
Yeah. So, but that we should be really proud. I mean, we've only been at this for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And we've figured it out on our way, and everybody has stayed with us while we've figured all these little quirks out. And oh my God, it's amazing.
I am so proud of us. So proud of us.
I know. Who would have thunk?
Who would have thinked? No, I'm just kidding.
I literally, when we started this, I would have thought, at the end of 13 episodes or 12 or 13 episodes, I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, 200-300 people or listens or whatever, not 1,000. That's a lot.
I know. Like some of our podcasts have actually had over 100 plays,
which is amazing.
I know.
That's exciting.
I know.
And we are very excited to,
now it's Amy's turn.
And now.
Deep breath. No.
Yeah. I'm like, how do I start this story?
Oh wait, do we have a subject matter, or she's just gonna chit chat?
No.
Well, I'll say my subject matter is that I was engaged to the same person twice.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 engagements, one person.
2 engagements, one person.
Juicy.
Maybe. Maybe.
Remember,
that's one of our other slogans. Juicy stories, right?
No boobs and juicy and what else are we? There was another word.
Oh shoot.
Very menopause.
That's the first thing I thought of, but I don't think that's what we said.
The first word that was coming to mind, it was Dickenschnitz. What was your thing called again?
Dickishness.
Yes, but I like Dickenschnitz. Dickenschnitz. That's the Wiener Schnitzel.
I think tonight we're just going to laugh.
We're going to be doing a lot of laughing. My cheeks are on fire because I keep having heat waves, a.k.a. hot flashes, and we're just laughing about everything, and we're drinking wine and eating grapes and having some of these delicious almonds. And we had a little chicken and salad before this. And it wasn't chicken salad, it was chicken and salad. And it may or may not be in our teeth right now. Let me see. Okay, everyone looks good. Just in case we post a video of this.
I think it's far away.
Can't see your teeth.
Please don't zoom in. Oh man. Anyway, so
2 engagements.
2 engagements. So this was all with my ex-husband. We met and were friends for, I don't know, probably a year before we started considering
How did you meet?
Dating. Okay, so we met at church. And it's kind of funny. We met at church, and I was already dating somebody. And he came in with his best friend, and
Sounds like a sin. No, just kidding. What is happening here? Don't
Not
spit
yet.
out your wine.
Okay, I swallowed.
Oh!
Okay, sorry.
No. And so we,
What was that? Did you hear that noise?
I heard a growl or
It sounded
something.
like a rabid cat or something.
It's my son upstairs.
Oh,
I don't let him out too often.
jeez.
Okay.
will get this
Anyway,
podcast could
it will
end up
get
being
out.
an hour to an hour and a half long tonight.
So no, we met at church. I had been going there since I was like first grade, and we were in college aged. And and it was kind of funny when I met him. He looked kind of familiar to me, and we discovered we were going to the same community college, and we actually grew up together in a tiny little city or town called Beaver Creek. It's in Oregon City, and it's just one of those tiny little places. So the mere fact that we meet in a church that's probably 45 minutes away from where we both grew up was kind of, it was kind of funny. And so anyway, we met at church. We became friends for about a year and hanging out in big groups. That's what we did in our college group. And he is 4 years older. He'd already been in the Navy. He had come back from the Navy and was going through community college, and they were paying for everything. And he asked me out several times, and I was hanging out with other people, and I was like, no. And then my girlfriend was like, you should give him a chance. Like, he is being patient. He's trying, you guys have been friends, so it's not like a new person. So I was like, okay, we'll try this out. And we dated for about 9 months. And during those first 9 months, we had a blast. He was living in Oregon City, and I was living in Tualatin, and the community college was in Oregon City. And we were spending a ton of time like you do when you're first dating somebody. And we were always at church because everything we did was at church at the time. And it was like 9 months in, and I didn't really see it going someplace. I didn't really see it going somewhere. And I was a gal who knew exactly what I wanted. And for me, I know loads of people will want to travel and do all those awesome, fun loner things. But I wanted kids, and I wanted a spouse. And I could have been a working wife. I could have been or a stay-at-home wife. I didn't really care. But that is what I wanted. And I thought I was going after people who were interested in the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't necessarily getting the same vibe. And I didn't want to waste my time necessarily. So we broke up. And it was like 4 months, and I dated somebody else. And then he came back around and said...
Were you still in college at this time?
Yep, we're still in college. I want to say I met him in early 97, and we started dating maybe the end of 97, maybe early 98. Between being friends and start dating, that's a little gray area. I don't quite remember, but when I was actually dating my boss at the time.
Hello.
Yeah. I do not recommend that, people. I mean, we are still friends to this day, but very awkward situation, let me tell you.
Is he still your boss?
No, he's not still my boss. No. Nope.
Juicy.
That is another podcast for a different day.
As she puts her finger up.
It was a good time.
And hardly wait.
And so my ex-spouse we weren't married at the time, but he asked for a second chance, and I believe in second chances. Mm-hmm. I wear my heart on my sleeve, mm-hmm. and I believe in second chances, and so I went with it. But I was like, I'm not just second chancing it just so we could date forever. I'm not interested in that ride. So we had a good friend of ours, and he helped my ex-husband come up with a the engagement, the first engagement. And it was like a wow engagement. Like I was flown to Hawaii. Yep, I was flown.
This sounds like in the movies.
I was flown on a hot air balloon.
What?
Over Napa.
What?
But not Hawaii.
No,
Dang,
so
but those are both incredible. I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Tuttles about this. No, just kidding.
Tell him to re-propose. Do it over again, sir.
Do over.
I actually liked my proposal, but
Well,
now that I hear this.
No. So this one was out of character, though, for this person.
Okay.
And so I literally went to work, and my parents said, oh my gosh, they called me frantically and said, we need a ride to the airport. We don't have a ride. We need a ride. I knew they were going on a trip. I just didn't know the time frame. So they had a suitcase, and I walked in with them, and my parents often pack in one suitcase. So
okay.
I still, I was thinking, oh, this it was totally normal. So I'm standing in line with them, though, and we're like chit-chatting, and all of a sudden my mom's like, well, here you go. And I was like, wait, what? And she handed me a ticket, and then the person checking me in was like, well, is there anything, breakable or liquids or whatever in your suitcase? And I was like, I have no idea what's going on
Questions
here.
they ask you if you
Yes.
pack your own bag.
Oh.
And my mom was there, and she was like, no, there's nothing in there. And I am still absolutely confused at this moment.
Right. I would have been too.
Actually, I take this back. She hadn't handed me the ticket. They asked, and I said no. Like, my mom was kind of playing dumb, and because we're all standing together, and I know my parents, so I was like, no, and my mom said no, and I don't remember what my dad said, and so I'm still kind of confused. So we start going through the security gate, and at that point in time, you could go through the security gate even if you were a guest. Remember, you could do that at the Portland airport.
That's right.
And you could go into all those cool shops.
That's
you didn't
right.
have to have a ticket
and
at the
you could go
time.
be waiting like for your person right at the
Yes,
gate,
right
or
at the
walk
gate.
them all the way to the gate.
Yeah.
Those were
Yes.
the days.
Those were the days.
It
I
was
remember.
cool. That was so
Yeah.
cool. And so I'm thinking, okay, we're all walking through security. We get through security. We get to the gate.
You still don't know you're the one that's traveling?
I still don't know I'm the one who's traveling.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So I am thinking it's weird and odd, but I mean,
Where did they tell you they were going? Did
they were going to California to visit my dad's brother, or his family, his whole family's in
And
California.
there was a real vacation they were really going to go on.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were going on a trip.
Yeah.
And the one suitcase, I was like, they always do. Anybody who knows them knows that they try and smash their lives into one suitcase, one thing. So I get up to the gate, and we're sitting, and they're like, the person's on the intercom saying they're starting to prepare the plane for the door to open and to start checking people in. And my mom hands me the ticket, and she's like, here you go. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, no, here you go. You're going on a trip. I am in my clothes from work. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, it's all arranged with your boss, because I actually work for my dad's friend. So they had already prearranged everything. Somebody packed my bags.
You had no idea what was in it.
Were you living at home?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I was. I was
So
living
it'd
at
be
home.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was absolutely stunned. And when I opened up the ticket, it said Hawaii, and I knew my ex-husband was in Hawaii on a business trip. And I'm just baffled. And now I'm shaking, because I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like,
Right.
And so I get on the plane, and I sit by this gal and then this guy, and they're, after everybody securely gets in and we take off, everybody's like, so what'd you go into Hawaii for? And I was like, I have no, in my mind, I'm like, I have no fucking clue why I'm going to Hawaii. And they're like, well, do you know anybody there? And I was like, well, my boyfriend's there. And I was absolutely baffled. So then when my mom had said, when you get into the airport, you're supposed to call, your boyfriend. So I called him, and he came and picked me up. And sure enough, he's at the Outrigger, Waikiki, on the beach.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And as a little girl, I had a few dreams, kind of like, if you could do anything. I'd always wanted to swim in the ocean with tropical fish, because in high school I really wanted to be a marine biologist.
Oh.
And I took classes to be that. And then I let my fear get in, because I wanted to be like in the water, and I backed out.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew that. And so we went and swam with the fish, and we did the whole Hawaii thing. I was there for like 4 nights, 5 days maybe. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, he ended up proposing on the beach, and it was wonderful. I mean, it's amazing. Yes.
Oh my God.
I know.
It was at night.
It's every girl's dream.
I know.
You know?
And it was...
This is a total movie.
I know.
Yes.
I would love to be swept off and go, like, you ever see those shows?
Oh, yeah.
You just, where am I going? I don't know. Like,
yes. And like walking barefoot on the sand, like, being all dressed up. So, and then he proposed on the beach, and had a pretty ring that wasn't the ring, but it was a ring with my birthstone and diamonds in it. And it was wonderful, but it was really out of character. And I felt a little off with it. And I mean, I enjoyed the moment and I had fun, but there was just something in the back of my mind that just felt really off, because he did fun things and he had fun dates, but a lot of them were planned with, we double dated often with another couple. And this just seemed like so out of the blue. And I know people do out of the blue stuff, but there was just a weird feeling about it. So we get home and we are engaged for quite some time, like a couple years, I want to say, with no date. And I started, and we weren't getting along. And I started to feel like maybe there was this whole whirlwind of awesomeness to not trap me, but that's kind of how I felt. And then just never come up with a date. And we were engaged for a couple of years, maybe 2.5 years. And there was just, I kept wanting to plan stuff.
Right.
I do like to plan. And there just wasn't a commitment. And I felt
from
anxious.
his side?
Yeah. I felt really anxious.
Was that one of the things you were fighting about?
The commitment part, and we just weren't really seeing eye to eye. He felt like home to me. And I think a huge part of that is the fact that all of our friends were intermeshed. And when you're young and vulnerable and you have life experience, but then you don't have life experience, it can be really confusing. And our relationship had been rocky. And so we finally came up with a date. I went with my mom and my mother-in-law at the time, and my sisters and a couple of friends, and we went and picked out my dress. And I can't remember if we bought the invitations. We're about to buy the invitations, but we had a wedding date. My parents were putting money down on this wedding, and we were arguing so much. Oh, no. We could not get along. When you are registering for things to create your home and you're not getting along and you can't even pick the same things or likeness, and you're fighting about that, there's a problem.
That's a sign.
there's a sign. Yeah. And it was a huge sign. And it was that feeling that I had that I want to come across in this podcast, is that we all get ourselves down these situations, and we put so much time and energy and sometimes money, like preparing for this wedding and making payments that I know my parents, they have four daughters. They're going to pay for 4 weddings, and I'm the first one. And you know that I'm not taking that lightly, and they're not taking that lightly. Yeah. And in my heart of hearts, I knew that I just couldn't be married to this person. And I had to back out. And that is a horrible feeling, to want it, to have the person in front of you and the person who committed to you and you've committed to them. Now, all of a sudden, in every fiber of my being, I was like, I cannot go through with this. And I felt guilty and I felt shamed. I knew I was going to, well, in my interpretation, I was going to be shamed. I don't entirely remember how I felt that or why I felt that. But it's that feeling of somebody paying a ton of money for something that now you want to back out of. But a lot of that, you can't get your money back.
Right.
So, and you can't, obviously you can't get your time back. And I was frustrated. He was frustrated. And in the end, I told a girlfriend, I was like, I don't think I could live with myself if I continued towards this wedding date. And so I canceled the wedding and the
that
date.
Is a very difficult thing
It
to
is.
do. That is a very, can you hear me? Anyways, yeah, Amy, kudos, because I there's so many times, many things in life come up where maybe there's finances involved or feelings of other people. And instead of doing what's right for us, we continue to go along with whatever because of these other multiple reasons. Yep. And this is, like you say, it's a good message.
It was so hard for me because I am, by nature, I am a people pleaser.
Yep.
And it was one of the first times that I actually can look back and remember that I actually stood up for myself. And I can't tell you that very many times where I could stand up for myself and anything like that. And so I broke off the wedding. And within a week, I broke off the engagement. And the week later, I broke everything off.
Wow.
And I just said, I need to be me. We're not healthy. This is not how I want to start a marriage.
Right.
And you're trying, I'm trying. And even though we weren't getting along, I deeply loved him and wanted it to work.
Yeah.
But you can't make somebody love you the way you love them. And that's kind of, we were just hit and miss constantly. And I kind of felt like he needed a break too. And I had said that. I feel like, you need to just be you and do your stuff. And I just need to be me. And I just kind of need to do my thing. And we saw each other once. We're still intermixed in our college group still. At church, we're still, our college group was kind of several years. And his best friend was was dating my best friend, and they were engaged as well. Of course, they got married. Oh my gosh. And he was in the wedding and I was in the wedding. And we saw each other once and had some kind of like interaction in 11 months. And then we didn't see each other hardly at all.
For how long?
For 11 months. So we didn't connect. There was a million times I wanted to reach out, and there was a million times I really wanted him to call. But in the end, I wasn't going to call.
Right.
And then I literally woke up one day and I felt like I was going to hear from him that day. And I have no idea why. I woke up and thought, I think he's going to call me. And he had reached out to our pastor at the time of the college group. And he had informed him and shared with him that he had, made some mistakes and truly wanted to be with me and create a life with me. And he was sorry for how he treated me. And sorry, your room just went really dark.
Oh.
And I saw the mood lighting.
It changed. So I have all the smart lights.
All the gadgets and trinkets here. And so anyway, that pastor actually called me and said, hey, I just wanted you to know that I spoke with him. It's been almost a year. And actually, I did see him one other time. A friend of ours died. And I did see him at the funeral. And he was kind and sweet. We gave each other a hug, and that was great. And then that was the only other time. And then when my pastor called me, he said, just so you know, I talked to so-and-so and he's going to call you. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah. And just so you know, I think he truly has his, head on his shoulders. This is, whatever he wants to say to you, please hear him out. And so because I trust in him, I heard him out. And yes, he called me that night and we met at a local park and we chit-chatted, and he said, I'm ready to commit. I'm ready not to date forever. I'm ready to make this, commitment right away, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I think I will know if you're serious. Thank you so much for, apologizing to me, but apologizing to my family, because my family is very integrated into my life. And when you are not your best with one of us, it means you're not your best with all of us.
Yeah.
Really. And I knew he was serious when he apologized to my whole family about certain things and treatments and such. And he was like, yep, I'm ready to get married. So he drove us to, I had no idea, but he drove us to the beach, the Oregon beach, because, who's going to get engaged twice in Maui? And he proposed to me, and then we got married barely 5 months later. I mean, it was right away.
Really cool.
I had already had my dress. I want to say the bridesmaids' dresses were purchased.
Did he give you the same ring?
So actually, my ring was soldered together with an engagement ring and a band, and I bought another band. So it was 3 bands together. So he bought me another band to add to my whole original engagement ring. Mm-hmm. We had that one made, and it was beautiful, and it was a great engagement, and it was at the beach. So that was cool, keeping with the whole beach thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I got married, and in July, we got married July 15th of 2001. And I really didn't want to plan it. I just wanted to be married. My mom was like, you can't do that. You actually have to have a say in these things. And I was like, I really don't want to say. I just wanted a say with cake and flowers, and that was it. And that actually is kind of how that happened. And then we got married July 15th of 2001. And I don't regret cutting or standing up for myself and shutting it down the first time. Mm-hmm. It needed to happen. We were in different places. We needed that time and that space. Even though I've talked in previous podcasts that our relationship wasn't healthy from the get-go, it was a different dynamic. After we got married, we had different issues than the issues we had prior. Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have any red flags about the issues that you had during your marriage while you were dating?
I did.
We did.
I did. But part of that for me and my family as well is he grew up very differently than I did. And he grew up and not always the healthiest family structure with the most sound examples. And I did. And I know that for a fact. And so for me, I'm like, how do you teeter that in your brain from someone who came from a very healthy family background to somebody who didn't really come from a very healthy background?
Well, that's the same with Mr. X too. He didn't come from a very healthy background too. So
Right.
And it plays on it plays on your heartstrings, and I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. But then I was not very strong about my boundaries, and because I am a feeling person, my feelings got in the way of like sound judgment sometimes and better judgment calls. And so I just kind of leave it alone. I kept thinking the potential, the potential's there.
I know.
And
I know.
And that's the cat and mouse game that I think we play often. And now I'm married again, and his family isn't even really, most of them are gone. And so I don't even know how that environment kind of plays out, or that experience plays out in another marriage relationship or dating relationship. But yeah, the red flags were there, and my family was really good about helping me to decipher what was good and what was not so good. And that was part of the apology that came before the second engagement, was that in the end, I just didn't want to be treated or disrespected in certain ways. And he apologized, and I thought those things would stick. And part of me really thinks that he thought those things would stick, but he was also older and had more experience. And sometimes you can be older and kind of set in your ways and want things to change for yourself, but you don't actually seek out a whole lot of change.
Well, I think a lot of people, they apologize, and I've had my share of apologies coming my way as well. And you know what? They can apologize, but it's the actions that really count. Like from my past relationship, he would apologize, and then it just never ended. Yeah. And you just can't change somebody.
That's right.
And as much as somebody can change, if someone was, like abused alcohol or drugs or whatever, and they get treated and they, find themselves, and those are changes that can,
Sure,
possibly last.
Yeah.
But when it's, when it's a little bit softer or other things, I don't know if it really goes away unless they really work on it. I feel like I work on things, like I've very introspective. I've gone to counseling. I've done a whole bunch of different things to help myself and understand myself. But
and that's just it. A person has to agree to it, or they have to want to help themselves. I mean, historically.
But he may not have really thought he was a problem.
Well, and that is part of our story, is that the issues I had, which were the things I needed in a partner, I wasn't getting. And those were, for me, what qualified as being a healthy couple or an unhealthy couple. He didn't have the same perspective, and we were constantly arguing on this perspective of who's right, when actually, even if I look back in our most unhealthy moments, you're both right, in the sense of I wanted one thing and he wanted something different, or he thought that's what we were getting. But either way, we were miscommunicating on the heart of it all. Really, it's the heart of it all. And if you really want to change some things about yourself, you will get accountability for it. Like if you drugs was not an issue in our, marriage or alcohol or anything like that. But if you are a person who has a hard time with those things and genuinely wants to change, you will go to AA meetings and you will meet with your coach person, and maybe you'll spread it out to your family and your friends so they know to keep you on track, to help you keep you on track. You're the only person who can make that decision. But that accountability wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. And people can say sorry all day long.
Yeah.
And but unless they do something about it, it will never change.
Yeah.
And that is crazy, because I mean, when I talked about Mr. Pink, I broke up with him twice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you broke him up with 3 times.
Yes, I did. I did. And when I was talking about the first engagement, how that was a big thing and something just rubbed me the wrong way, it actually wasn't really his idea. It was somebody else's idea who came to him and said, I have this idea. I think you should do this. And while Hawaii was amazing and all of that and all those experiences, and he did want to give me the experiences there, I would have preferred something that was authentically him.
Right.
Yeah. So it didn't feel...
It didn't quite feel right.
Yeah.
And it was hard to celebrate. It was hard. I was super happy to be engaged and for him to make that verbal commitment.
Yeah.
But something just didn't feel right still with it all. And it was just because it wasn't his idea. And for me, I'm super in tune to those kinds of things. I would have just preferred something that was more him than something that was somebody gave him an idea. And I know people do that all the time, and I think those are beautiful moments when I'm watching on somebody else. Mm-hmm. But just something just rubbed me the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, I just want to get out to people that it can seem like the most impossible situation or the most costly situation, but it is good to stand up for yourself. It is okay to say, I cannot do this. And I think had my parents said something like this, I would have been okay with it. But I think other parents need to feel like they can say something like this to their to their child who might be backing out of a wedding or a big commitment, is that it's okay for parents to say, we don't want you in this unhealthy whatever experience, relationship, whatever. And we can't really afford to do this again, but we support you. Because I would have been fine had my parents said, this was the only wedding we could gift you because we spent a huge portion of our budget on this. I would have taken that as an adult, and I would have been like, okay, I get that. I value that or respect that. Mm-hmm. But I definitely have heard recently of people in situations. I was at the grocery store, and this very same topic, 2 friends were having a conversation about this, and the bride-to-be was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be marrying this person. I think I should back out. And her friend's like, back out? You don't want to get into an unhealthy marriage from the get-go.
You overheard this at the grocery store?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I bet you wanted to say something so
I did,
bad.
And there was actually 5 people between us, but they were talking pretty loud. And I almost said something, and I didn't. And a piece of me regrets that. Mm-hmm. And the bride kept bringing up, my parents have paid thousands of dollars. I cannot do this to them. Mm-hmm. But you could possibly be putting them in the situation of paying for a very expensive divorce in the future, or a lot of unhappiness and unhealthiness. So
yeah,
I think people need to stand up for themselves.
It's important. And I think it's a really good message. And and there's really, no rush. I know that we all have these, dreams and
Yeah.
about marriage and having children.
And like a timeline.
Well,
or
like a
whatever.
timeline.
Yeah.
Like I felt the timeline
Yeah.
several times. And I had my son at 40, but so it does happen late in life, but it's kind of I don't know. It's like this wisdom. You look back and you can go, "Oh, I know exactly what I should have
right.
done."
Hindsight is
Hindsight.
always 20/20,
It
right?
is. I know.
Well, and part of me thinks back because all of one of my siblings, she just got married, but my other two siblings, they got married at 19. They have beautiful marriages. My parents got married when they were 19 to 20. Beautiful marriage. And so I feel like if you're happy and healthy in your relationship, you look back and you think, I'm so thankful for growing together, because that's what they did. And that is a little piece, being a 4-year difference in when you're young. He had way more life experience in some ways of leaving the house. I actually had a lot of life experience still living inside my parents' house. But when you're kind of jaded or had a nasty experience, then you look back and think, oh, I shouldn't have necessarily done it that way. And, nobody can go back and make different choices.
At this point in life, you just have to,
Yeah,
accept it. You have 3 kids.
Absolutely.
And,
Things happen.
Things happen. Life goes on. And you can heal from these things.
Correct. As I look back and process everything, it's not necessarily about whether we got married or didn't get married. It's really about standing up for what you think is right for yourself, whether you're married or you're not married, because clearly we're divorced. So making sure that you stand, it doesn't matter if you're the quietest person, shyest person, most religious person, most liberal person, it doesn't matter. Like, stand up for yourself. At least try.
Yeah.
At least try. So.
Well, that was good. Holy cow. That was a
Beautiful.
big story. Oh my goodness. You've been keeping this one from us.
I gotta shoot. I might need to open some more wine. Oh. Wow, that's good. I love the message. That's the big thing I love about this story, and because that's kind of what we're all about. That's why we want to share these stories, so that we can hopefully save some other people out there from heartache, or if they've been through the heartache, help them realize that they're not alone. There's other people that have been through this, and you can heal and recover, and you'll get through it.
And you can also save another person. While, we weren't the healthiest in our relationship, we're co-parents now, and we have a way better relationship than we've ever had. And we've known each other for like 26 years now. And you can, by saving yourself, you can also save them from a situation as well. So you can look at it from yourself, but if you truly love someone, you'll also try and help them save themselves as well from,
if it takes you walking away from it to save themselves. Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Thank
that's
you.
my story.
That's a great story.
Thank you so much. We love you, Amy.
I love you too.
All the feels, everybody.
Feels.
Well, I guess that's a wrap, and that's going to be the end of our story for today. Thank you, everybody. I'm at a loss for words right now.
Okay, well, we're
going to let Sophie close us out today. Oh, wrong cup. Oops.
She's got too many chips.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate you listening to us, and we look forward to hanging out with you next Wednesday. Please join us. And in the meantime, please follow us on Instagram at The Real Exes Portland. Also, we would love to hear from you and hear some of your juicy stories. You can email us your stories at rxop.yourstory@gmail.com. Until next week, bye.